Perhaps. They decided drugging people to make them more socially compliant was the way forward, and making them fit into their construct. The system worked its way down from company to medical profession to teaching profession to parents and ultimately children. Ensuring the future generation would be what was required. And here we are now, another generation on from that. The laws of nature were understood in their basic format, then replaced with the man-made laws of nature, suppressing and dampening our natural instincts and replacing them where they could, tinkering and testing them for what seems to be ultimately controlling them. But where does this really lead? Why would they want us all to be part of a system? To make it work? We were here before systems, so we are told. So they have created a construct around us, then had to shape and mould us to fit into that. It's a never-ending cycle. So let's look at the system, why it's there, and what purpose does it serve, and who created the overall vision. I'll give you the short answer. I don't know. But I see the mechanics of the system and the cogs turning to make it all happen, so that is what I will discuss. Where we currently find ourselves, at the whim and mercy of the medical profession and background companies who run the show, we have discovered that we haven't been free for a while now. They seem intent on rolling out new systems as quickly as possible and wanting everyone to be on board with no logical reason about it, just a desperation about them. It started with projections and stats, numbers and charts, visuals and threats, all carefully selected and presented to sway reason towards what seemed like fact. For lots of people, that is where it fell apart, and quickly. The stats didn't ring true, the data didn't add up, and they contradicted themselves often. So it could be gross incompetence, as some have suggested, or was a deliberate attempt to hide the truth and create a virtual disaster that would have real-life results. But either way, enough people bought it for long enough to start implementing the digital systems needed to really bring it all together. This is the post where I will put forward a seriously disturbing idea, one that is not mine but has haunted me ever since I learnt of it. Something I would have never believed possible as a serious consideration, an idea in a boardroom that would be decided by committee members. It's from a published book, The People Shapers, so the idea is not hidden, but it still feels like bringing horror into people's reality where it wasn't before. But this is reality, not fiction. The title of the section it came from should not surprise you of where this is going, but here it is. Warehouses for the Living Dead. It does sound like a horror film, doesn't it? Or is it just me saying that? Now move on from the title. The two pictures are the content of that section, and I hope you will realise my concerns once you read them. Now, hopefully you are on board with why I am horrified, but a couple of things I will bring to point. Firstly, the last line of the second page, who they would no longer need to use, meaning that they had already been and probably were continuing to use mentally retarded children as test subjects. That stuck in my throat a bit, but the whole thing was just a different level of real horror being discussed and voted on by governments and people in power. Two visuals for this sprung to mind to me from movies, one of them funnily enough having the main character called Neo, oddly close to Neomort, isn't it? Maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, and I worry too much for people and what awful plans might be afoot for us all, but I can't help thinking if they see us as a commodity and expendable anyway, and really we are just spare parts, what type of future do they really have planned for people?